Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John Young. I'm the General Manager for the Emergency Response Division in the Australian Maritime Safety Authority. I'm joined this afternoon by Group Captain Stuart Bellingham from Headquarters Joint Operational Command in the Defence Force. My plan this afternoon is to provide an opening statement and then offer an opportunity to ask questions. AMSA's Rescue Coordination Centre has been coordinating the search operation for the missing Malaysian Airlines aircraft in the southern Indian Ocean as of 3 p.m. Canberra time yesterday, 17th of March. Australia is working cooperatively with the Malaysian government to assist with search efforts for Malaysian Airlines flight MH370. This is part of an international effort involving 26 countries, 60 ships and 50 aircraft, providing support to the search for flight MH370. The United States and New Zealand will join the Royal Australian Air Force P3 Orion aircraft in a search effort as a result of a possible route taken by MH370 to an area 3,000 kilometres southwest of Perth in the southern Indian Ocean. AMSA has defined a possible search area with information available to us from a range of sources, both nationally and internationally. This search will be difficult. The sheer size of the search area poses a huge challenge. The search area is more than 600,000 square kilometres. This initial search area was developed working with the United States National Transportation Safety Board as a result of work they have already done on behalf of Malaysia. The area where the aircraft might have entered the water was then corrected over for the water movement over the elapsed time by the Rescue Coordination Centre here in Canberra to provide a possible search area that is relevant to efforts today. Every attempt will be made to further refine the search area as further information becomes available. This includes further analysis of drift modelling and other search tools, but with the passage of significant time since the 8th of March and with the constant movement of water, that will be constantly difficult. An Air Force P3 Orion aircraft departed from Royal Australian Air Force Base Pearce near Perth in Western Australia at approximately 2 p.m. this afternoon, Australian Eastern Standard Time, Canberra time, and will arrive in the search area around 5:40 p.m. this afternoon. It is expected, due to the distance offshore, that the aircraft will search only a small portion of the total area. It will fly to the area defined by the Rescue Coordination Centre and return to the RAF base at Pearce. Ships in the southern Indian Ocean have also been requested to keep a lookout for anything relevant to the search and to travel through the search area if possible. One ship is presently travelling through the area and another has reported it will pass through the area later today. The weather in the area indicates a cold front passing through with winds up to 25 knots and seas to 3 metres. A further 3 Air Force P3 Orions will join the search operation tomorrow, and a Royal New Zealand Air Force P3 Orion will also arrive later today to join the search effort tomorrow. A United States Navy P8 Poseidon aircraft is also expected to join the search tomorrow. AMSA holds grave concerns for those on board the flight, but is working positively within the Australian Search and Rescue region and as part of international efforts to search for the passengers and crew. I'm now happy to take any questions.
Mr. Young, though this area is obviously pretty vast that you still have to search, it's much smaller than we've been led to believe over the last few days. We're talking about a massive swathe of ocean from basically Thailand downwards to the southern part of this search. Can you explain to us how has it been refined to what you've got now?
I might actually start by showing the search areas themselves. Here we have the search area in a little detail, and on that chart over there, a wider look. What we have done is to work with the United States National Transportation Safety Board, which has, as has been publicly noted, already done some work on transmissions that were made from the aircraft at approximately hourly intervals during its flight. Those transmissions were detected by a communications satellite over the Indian Ocean, and with the time of those communications and the distance, they can't plot an exact position for each one, but that sequentially they can be built up into a possible route that the aircraft took. The search area you see here is based on the last one of those reports, what would likely happen to the aircraft after that, and it has then been moved to account for water movement and weather since the 8th of March.
So can I just ask, can you clarify whether Australia is coordinating the entire sort of southern route down here, or whether, I'm told from Asia, from bureaus we have over there, that you're actually sharing it with the Indonesians. If that's the case, how are you coordinating it with the Indonesians? Who's in charge? So how's it working?
In accordance with normal global search and rescue arrangements, Australia is coordinating the portion of the search that is within the Australian search and rescue region, which is not on either of the charts, I'm sorry. The Australian search and rescue region approaches the Indonesian archipelago to a distance of approximately 200 miles. So south of that is Australia's responsibility, north of that is Indonesia's responsibility. So we, of course, are in regular liaison with our counterparts in Basarnas, in Indonesia, in any case.
So those transmissions you were talking about, is that, and the last one suggests it's this area?
Yes.
Does that rule out the rest of the search area? I mean, how can you be so confident that the last one represents this area? And why isn't everyone down involved?
What I present here is a possible search area. It's the result of some analysis of possible movements of the aircraft. There are some assumptions built in there. The result that you get from the analysis depends on assumptions about the speed the aircraft was flying, and the two arrows you see there represent two different speeds for the aircraft. So what we're doing is producing our best estimate of the most likely place to search, but I would hasten to add it is far from very precise.
But does it rule out the northern route though? I mean, there's speculation about it going north or south.
It's irrelevant to the northern route. The way the analysis is conducted, you get a mirror image of the analysis. So there's an analysis for the southern route and an analysis for the northern route, and we are examining the southern one because that's our area. I can't really comment about the northern possibilities.
But this is two analyses of the same set of data.
That is correct. Well, it is, to be precise, one analysis of the same set of data which produces mirror images on either side of the equator. We are looking at the southern one.
Just to clarify that, so that doesn't make the northern route any less likely that search is going on, and this is the southern search, correct?
That is correct. The southern and northern routes, from an analysis of possible movement of the aircraft, they look the same on either side of the equator. The difference is over the southern Indian Ocean, there is very little radar cover and it's wide open space. Over the northern route, that's over land. So you would expect different reactions from countries involved, whether they're on the northern route or the southern route.
Can you say where the northern image actually lies?
No, I haven't been.
And how long do you expect it to take to actually search that area there? And once you've finished, and if you haven't found anything, do you then sort of move on to your second best guess, as it were?
Look, we will be continuing to try to refine our understanding of what might have happened to the aircraft through this search operation. For the moment, that is our best estimate of the best place to search with the aircraft that we have available to us. But it is in the nature of search and rescue operations that pieces of information can come to us, sometimes out of chronological sequence, and we will take note of them when they turn up. I might add that the Rescue Coordination Centre staff are highly trained to follow every detail right through to its origin. So we will be continuing to work on the information that's available to make the best possible use of it.
Is the focus of the search on the runway, possible runways on islands or mainly on the water?
I'm sorry, you have to ask me that again.
There is a map by some British guy that they showed 600 plus possible runways in the northern and southern views. So your Australian search focus on possible runways on possible islands or mainly on water?
Our search is focused on the best information we can derive about the likely movements of the aircraft without any regard to what's happening on board the aircraft or where there might be runways or land. This is about what the National Transportation Safety Board and the Australian Maritime Safety Authority thinks were the most likely movements of the aircraft.
You mentioned overcast conditions and up to 3 metre seas. How difficult does that make it for an aerial? Can you give us an idea of how difficult the outlook is?
Could I ask Group Captain Bellingham to speak to that?
So the aircraft that we have tasked to support this P3 has a number of different sensors that are optimised in the surface surveillance task, radar, infrared and electro-opticals. So the P3 will be able to continue to operate, and the P8 beside them, which the US Navy are providing to the support, to continue to do the search. It will challenge if there's a visual search required to refine that, but the aircraft is suited to the search and it's highly optimised to conduct that.
What happens if you find some wreckage? Who goes and picks it up?
I'll leave that to AMSA.
We need to decide that on the circumstances at the time. As I indicated earlier, while it's a fairly remote part of the world, there are ships that pass through that area on routes between South Africa and Australia and New Zealand. We will decide what can best be done at the time, depending on what is sighted and where it is.
How deep is the water in that area and what's the sea floor like?
The water is very deep. I don't have a precise answer for you, but it's deep ocean.
Do you rely on satellite at all for this as well, or is it purely an aircraft thing? Is there any sort of satellite imagery that's helpful to you?
We are looking at what can be done in the way of satellite imagery. We would work through Geoscience Australia, which is the Australian authority that deals with these things, to see whether there is any imagery that is of value now that this search area has been established, or any other techniques that can be used beyond the use of search aircraft.
What's the operation cost?
Sorry, say that.
What's the operation cost?
At the moment, we're not focused on the cost at all. We just want to get the aircraft out there and do the search. That's something we'll look at as the search progresses.
What else would help you refine the search area? Can you give us some examples?
The very best assistance is always a distress beacon or something of the type, but that has not occurred in this case. We know that there were a number of distress beacons on board the aircraft, and we know that they have not been activated because we are the receiving authority for such alerts. Other than satellite imagery from the 8th of March, or satellite imagery since then that might pick up large pieces of debris, there's nothing that comes to the front of my mind to add to this analysis.
Could we ask the group captain what the Orion will actually be looking for? What are you looking on the surface, or how far underwater can your equipment scan? And could you, for instance, pick up a black box?
So we're not looking underwater at all, and we don't have the capability to pick up black boxes or underwater electronic beacons. So it's purely a surface search to look for debris, or objects in water.
The end of the search zone there, is that the end of the fuel capacity of this make of aircraft? Is that where it would run out of fuel?
It is based on speed and endurance from the last known point of communication, yes.
Is there any land at all down there, or is it all?
Antarctica to the south, and well to the west there's La Reunion and the Heard and McDonald Islands, but they're a long way off sea.
You know, various commentators have described it today in preceding days as being like searching for a needle in a haystack. Is that a fair assessment?
That's very good. A needle in a haystack remains a good analogy.
Can I just clarify, I think you were asked before, how long will it take you to search that area? I mean, I assume it's a quadrant based thing, so how long would it take the amount of aircraft you've got to cover that area?
Our current estimate is at least a few weeks to search the area thoroughly. We will of course be assessing progress every day. We will be moving the search area according to the movement of water and weather influences every day, and assessing when the aircraft actually get out there and see the real conditions and get experience with the search. We will modify our thinking, but at the moment it's a large area with aircraft that are towards the end of their operating limit, so they get a short period of time in the search area, and that dictates this is going to take quite a long time.
Is that area about 2,000 square kilometres or bigger?
It's 600,000 square kilometres.
600,000.
I don't have an analogy for that. That might be as big as a state.
Is there any plan to involve more resources from Australia or internationally?
As I briefed earlier, Australia, the United States and New Zealand are currently providing aircraft. We have been in discussion with China. China would like to be part of the search effort, and we're in discussion to see whether China could provide useful aircraft. And as we work cooperatively with our defence colleagues, we will seek other options that would optimise what we can do in the search.
Last question.
The fact that so many aircraft are being mustered in Perth, American aircraft, New Zealand aircraft, it seems to indicate that you're taking this very seriously. This is where one of the scenarios where the aircraft came down.
We are taking this search very seriously. I describe it as a possibility. The aircraft could have gone north or south, and if it went south, this is the Australian Maritime Safety Authority's best estimate of where we should look with the few resources we have at our disposal for such a search. And our purpose is firstly to find anyone alive if there is anyone to be found, and secondly we would like to either prove or discount the possibility that the aircraft came south. To do that would be a significant development with the search.
So you're obviously taking seriously the data that is coming apparently from the aircraft's engines automatically sent to satellites. That's where this data comes from.
Yes, we're taking that data very seriously. It is the only real indicator we have of what the movements of the aircraft might have been on the southern corridor. And so I would repeat that this search is not based on any theories about what might have happened on board the aircraft. It's based on our best estimates of where the aircraft went, and therefore where we should look.
Can I just ask one last